Hi, Dr. Lee.
Hi.
Oh,
Hey, Professor Xie.
yeah, nice to see you in the web.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry that because of the COVID, I cannot invite you to be here personally. Yeah.
It's all right. I actually got infected last week, so I'm home stay now.
Oh, really?
Yes, for a
How do
week.
you feel now?
I'll be out tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. How do you feel now?
Pretty good. Actually,
Okay.
I don't have the fever, and I didn't have the fever, and just a little bit itchy throat. Yeah.
I know, yeah, but you're too strong. COVID is nothing to you. Okay. So our present.
I want to check that everybody see the screen okay, right? The share the PowerPoint
All right.
presentation.
Let me X. 中根. See. 珊珊
老师
有看到荧幕吗
有的
？OK，好。
这样有在动吗？
有
Yeah,
有
好，OK。
Actually, beforehand, 2 days before, so everyone should have a good chance to preview his presentation material. And Dr. Lee graduated from NTU, Department of Civil Engineering, and he went on to study under geotech engineering in Michigan for his master's and in Washington University for his PhD. And then he was very well experienced in construction industry as a whole. To name a few of his past working experience, he was the president of uh, Taoyuan MRT company. This is Taoyuan City invested company to run the MRT system for Taoyuan City. He was also the CEO of Taoyuan Aerotropolis City Company. This company has the job to develop some 2,400 acres of land to build the Aerotropolis for Taoyuan. And this is probably one of the biggest land development project in Taiwan. And he was also, for many years, the consultant of Markitech. This is a high-tech company and has many customers, something like TSMC. And he was the consultant for this company for many years. And he's currently a partner and the CEO for Paul Xu and Partners Consulting. And this company is aiming to provide Taiwan many venture opportunities. And currently, he has a project in Taitung. This is, I believe, it's a big hotel project. Used to be dead, but now it's a reviving by on Dr. Lee's hand. I'm sure he's going to use this experience as today's presentation. I cannot have you guys to give him a big applause, but let's just warmly welcome Dr. Lee for today's presentation. Now the time is to you, Dr. Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, Ding Ya.
Yeah.
It's my great pleasure to deliver a seminar in Zhongyang University, Central University. Actually, I was last time I had the seminar probably like almost 16 years ago for geotech, but I'm so glad that finally I can give a lecture to construction management. As Professor Xie just said, I grew up as a geotech engineer, but I never was a good student. I always jumped to new ideas that maybe enable me to have a talk with you. Actually, it will be a very comfortable talk, and I hope I keep most of the time for everybody to ask questions at the end of the presentation. Because in my experiences and also the characteristics of the civil engineering, seldom students, less students from civil engineering become entrepreneur. I don't know the reason why, because I think most of the time we were trained to become a good engineers and working in the system. So we don't, the creativity is not really an essential element to civil engineering before, I would say before, but I hope after today's lecture or today's seminar, you guys all can have some idea about start your own business or start a new idea, be creative. So let's get down to my presentation today. My presentation, the title is 80-20% rule of venture and private capital. Let me review the answers to you first. Usually a successful business or enterprise or even entrepreneurship, a startup company, don't think about your core technology is very too much. Most of the time, the success of the company is only 20% rely on the core technology. The other 80% is business model. So throughout this lecture, I would like to force you to think or push you to think about your own business model. Let's moving on. First, let's talk about the entrepreneurship. There are 4 stories and a couple of the stages I would like to introduce. The 4 stories, I have 2 very old stories, almost 40 years old, and 2 very young stories, almost like only 10 to 15 years old. First one, I'm an Apple guy. I use Mac computers. I have MacBook. I have Pad. I have AirBook, and then I have Apple Watch. So Apple now is a 2.2 trillion valuation company, US dollar valuation company in States. It founded in the garage at the Jobs and Steve Wozniak garage, and they founded this company. Many want to create new style of PC, personal computer. Way back in 76, the personal computer was just launched. I remember, like in 87 or 89, I finally have my own personal computer at the first time. So that was back in old days. But now the success of the Apple is they get into your lifestyle. They have variety of products, including computer, software, watch, even later on the car is coming out. An element of the success to Apple is not only the core technology, but also the product design. I think everybody likes that, unless you are the Google guys, And then also marketing strategy. They are very different from the Microsoft. Microsoft worked as a software company for quite a long time, almost like 30 years, not until recent 10 years. But Apple started aiming to become a computer or lifestyle company. But don't forget that in 1985, 11 years after, almost 11 years after Jobs founded the Apple, he was exiled. He was exiled because the company was at the edge of failure. So he left the company and then working on the very good OS system, and he figured out what he has been wrong and what he has to do it right. And probably, if you see the movie Men in Black, they say Jobs went back to his planet and then learn all the tricks about the new stuff in the future. So when he come back in 1996, he actually developed the whole product lines and also the ecosystem. We call it Apple ecosystem for the next couple of years, futures. So the unique feature for Apple is the entire ecology system. This is a very good business model that get into your life. Next one, Bill Gates. Um, I'm not a window guy, so I always say the Microsoft is the irresistible software devil because we have to use it. And I was the guy using Linux and I was the guy using Workstation for my final element back in like early 90s. But again, this is very good business. Bill Gates and Paul Allen started their own company in 1975. They just start with the software developer. It's a software company, but when the time comes, the 1980 IBM asked the Microsoft company to produce the OS operating system for their very first IBM personal computer. They got a big order. This is a big juicy beef they got, so they become very rich. They can rapidly expand their thoughts. And Bill Gates and also Paul Allen has the idea about having a good office software or professional software and also the operation system integrated together. So they create the Microsoft Windows and Office. But the Windows 95, the very, very, very friendly Windows operating system was not available until 1995, the Windows 95, which was under the pressure of Apple computer, Macintosh at that time, because Apple has quite user-friendly interfaces and also operation system, OS system. So they, 10 years late, the Microsoft finally has the so-called integrated Windows system, they call it Windows 95. But again, because the Office has gone up to the market real early, so they now still is one of the most powerful and profitable company in US. Make also Bill Gates the richest guy in the world. So if you compare to, but again, go back to the corner that the Microsoft right now is only have 2 trillion US dollars variation. So it a little bit shy from the Apple company. If you compare these two companies, Apple get into your lifestyle earlier. They are not aiming to professional people like students and engineers or office colleagues. They actually get into your life. So their variety of their products is much more, and the coverage of the market is much more than Microsoft. Microsoft is trying to catch up these days. They have Microsoft TV, it has the acquired movie company, something like that. So they all try to cover as wider range as into your lifestyle. This is one you have to think about it. And the other element is both company after 40 years, they now become $1 trillion worth company. So that's really encouraging you. If you start a company now after 40 years, you might become a trillionaire. Let's talk about a newly case. We have 2 cases. The first one is the Facebook, we call Meta recently. The Facebook has 520 billion. Uber, I think Uber, everybody knows Uber. They use Uber. You use Uber. Right now, Uber has its valuation about $440 billion US dollars. They start with a couple of the campus students. They want to earn some extra money by sharing their own cars, and also maybe pay for their student loans or pay for their car loans. So in 2009, Kalanick and Kemp, they, along with their college buddies, they developed and created block car service, rideshare service. And this system, very simple system, allowed them to pick up. This guy is too old. This lady is too old. I don't want to ride with her. But this girl is from the economic department. It's really cute. So I want to ride with her. This is their basic fundamental idea about sharing their rights. Later on, they think they may be able to share the gasoline, and also if they do it individual service, they may get some tips. So Uber car was founded at that time, but in 1 year after, they renamed the Uber car company, Uber cab company, become Uber, and they also get the first chunk of their money, about $1.25 million to start their business. Funny thing is that once you have the good idea, you founded the company, the rest of the investor will will find a way to force you to leave the company. So Kalanick left the company 2 months after their first successful fundraising. But again, the Uber is not making any money. Uber's again very similar to Facebook. They earn their money, or they keep growing by acquisition and merge, and then create a new business as well. But there's a very good story about Uber. Indicate that IPO is not always the good thing. In 2019, about 2 or 3 years ago, May 9th, Uber went public. On that day, the valuation of Uber was, before that day, I think before the public offering, Uber's valuation was $120 billion. But just one day, I think the stock market started 9 o'clock, then they fall flat. It was the biggest, the first day dollar loss in U.S. stock history, because everybody found out, whoa, Uber is not making money. How can they have such high valuation? It was almost a scandal at that time. But again, because of the variation, the custom network, and also the confident and the popular app, and also the users, vast user volumes, they support the Ubers to come back to their good valuation. Right now, it's 440 billion something valuation. So, what are the common of this entrepreneur? You see, Steve Jobs was asked to leave, and Kalanick was asked to leave because they were too dominant, maybe, or when they founded the company, they hold on to their original thought too much, so they are not most of the time the founder didn't get along with the investors. That's one key issue. Second one, when we look at the business model, it's very important. Apple has get into lifestyles. Microsoft has its good position, start with the IBM computers and sell their operating system with the professional, the office kit. So the Facebook and also the Uber, they're setting up a good trend, or catching up the good trend. The Uber catch the sharing economics. Uber catch the platform economics. They all try to create new business model and new market that in the past of couple of years no one thought about it. again, if you look at the life cycle of an entrepreneur, right, the Jobs, although he passed away, Bill Gates, they are good, they are very successful entrepreneur. They become the most richest guy in the world, and then they have their reputation for 40 years. But you know how many startup company they won't last for even 4 months. No more. Not nevertheless, same 40 years. So for Facebook and Uber, they last for 10 years, 15 years. I don't know how long will they last. If you look at the so-called the conventional industry or the manufacturing industry, you know, the Ford company, the GE, General Electronic, they will last for more than 200 years, even longer than the history of Republic of China. So I'm thinking entrepreneur is very inspiring and also um, risky, and but again, it's very inspiring for the young engineers or like you to have your own startup to create your own career. That's the reason why we are have this seminar today. So let's moving on. The stage of the entrepreneurship usually we cut into 4 stages. From the early stage, seed stage, that means you have an idea, and then going to early stage, and then to growing stage and expansion. So early stage always start with an idea, and then you need money or you need support to prove the concept, prove this concept, and also prove the valuation of this concept. Usually that was a technology or the ideas or the business model. At this time, you always burn money, so you are not even reach the break-even stage. And then you get into the early stage. The early stage, that means someone supported you, so you survive. And then at that time, you need money to prove of your service that this can be done and this service has its market. So you again, after the proof of the service, then you have to prove that your business is okay. With a good proof of the business, then you can develop the solid business model. So you get into the growing stage for marketing coverage, and that's you have to prepare for expansion from from the states. Then you become a worldwide global software. From the product domestic product, you become an international market. That will take you always like 8 to 10 years to complete this first 3 stages, and then you expand it. Expand it. You can expand it to other sectors, or you be acquired by the large firms, and also you might come up another product line to expand your market, and also you expand your product volumes. That's the 4th stage of the entrepreneurship. But again, you have the idea. You want to start a company. Where's the money? You need to have some investors. Let's talk about the investor and the investment stage. We have 3 levels of the investor. First level is angel investor. We always say the angel investor are family members. Your parents give you some money to start your company, like Steve Jobs. When he sold his van, and also live in his parents' garage, and then founded his company. And then maybe friends will loan you some money. Otherwise, will be some fools who agree to your ideas and willing to give you the money to prove your idea or prove the concept of your idea is profitable. So angel investor is a high net worth individuals who very close to you or believe in you, and then they usually the angel investor, they have the high risk because they never know you will success. The invested at the C stage, the company or the idea will be successful or not. But again, if you get into angel stage, you always can become a major share. You can have a major share of the future company, so your return is also very high if the company is success. Level 2 we call the venture capital. Venture capital in Taiwanese word is 创投基金。创投基金 as you see, I put some names here, including SoftBank, Alibaba, and also the Google Ventures, and then Tencent. They are probably largest or humongous four group of the venture capital at this time. At this time in the world, venture capital is a form of private equity. Rich guys, they want to searching for the next technology, next state of technology. They want to find out the potential technology or potential individuals who has good ideas. So they invest. They become the venture capital. They form the venture capital and to invest. And then compared to seed company, venture capital, compared to angel investor, venture capital usually have a larger size, probably from million US dollars to 10 million US dollars. They are to provide a startup to company or small business that are believed to have long time growth potentials. Venture capital can also provide at the different stage to sometimes they cut into A stage, B stage, and C stage for the entrepreneur or startup company. Depends on the idea or the maturity of the company. But however, in Taiwan, I would say that in Taiwan, all the venture capital are too eager to have IPO. They always think about public offering is the only way to exit. It's quite different from the international or global venture capital. Global venture capital, they always have a long-term investment plan to a potential company, and always when the potential company is good enough, they, instead of helping them to become public listed, they most of the time they merge it into their large system or large structure of development. Last one, when your company grow big enough, and you need big money to do the expansion. We call it private equity fund will came into the place. Blackstone, BlackRock, and even Hill House, they are all big capital. Their fund size is in the range of $1 billion. So they are usually the one tranche of their investment is in the range of $10 million to 20 or $30 million, and some of them become $1 billion because they want to acquire the company. They are acquiring for private equity fund, we call PE fund. They acquire company that is matures, has good potentials, and they don't really care about how high your valuation is. As long as they are in line with their long-term investment plan, and also is in the good topics like energy, sustainability, carbon things. Recently, they will acquire you, put in the good big money into that. But again, for that big money to acquire your shares or merge you, this private equity fund will often get involved with your daily operation and management, and sometimes the ugly thing is they will sell you to another company for greater profit. So again, we come back to this fourth stage. From seed stage, probably only angel investor will invest. And then early stage, venture capital came into place, including A round, B round. And then when you reach the company reach the growing stage, venture capital, private equity will get into the place. And then again, when expansion stage for acquire, merge and acquisitions and public offering and even SPAC. We'll talk about SPAC later. The private equity and also investment bank will get in the place to chip in their money. So again, everybody, all the investors want to get asset because asset is when their investment become a good profit. There are three mostly there are three ways to exit. Two is mostly seen in the investment banking system. First one is mergers and acquisitions. So you got a good technology, you become a good company, and then another bigger company found out you are good. You are either become his potential competitors, or you will be good component to his developing system. They will acquire you. So back in our days in year 2000 to year 2010 or maybe 15, a lot of dreamers in Silicon Valley. Every day they dream about their software company, their chip design company will be acquired or merged by large company. Then they can share they can hold on to the stocks of the big company and have a very good life in the future, in the rest of his life. So that's the stories in Silicon Valley. The other thing is go public. The other option is go public. In initial public offering, we call IPO, is a public offering when in which shares of the company are sold to institutional investor. In Taiwan, usually you can only banks and or the holdings can do that for you, and you usually also to retailers, individual investors as well. So they go public, become listed company. It's also increasing increasing the value of your share, company shares. So that's the second option. Recently, we call a special purpose acquisition company. It's called a SPAC. Actually, a couple of years ago, Taiwan stock market already has this kind of idea. We call 借壳上市. Because if you have the share company that was listed, but they don't have a good business anymore, you drop their values and then keep it listed. Some of the day, if someone needs to be listed right away, and then they just acquire the share company and then become listed company and change the content of the company. This idea become very popular in past 2 years. The SPAC idea is to they allow the American law or the American system allow financial company, they create the company to become a blank check company to be listed in market first. And then once they found, if you want to be listed, have a quick path to be listed, you can go ask them. But again, the SPAC is appeal, pose and appeal. Most of the time they request like 50-50 for the profit, and then if the public process did not success, you have to pay them for a huge amount of money and then get nothing back. So famous case in Taiwan is Gogoro. This is the inside story. When the company lost their power system, they lost their battery technology. They still struggling for their marketing, and they go seeking the quickest listed way to go public using spec. I don't know what's the future of Gogoro, but if you have a Gogoro motorcycles, keep it. Someday it might be merged, become the Kimco Roll or Shenyang Roll. That's my comment. So after that, you understand all the investments, you all understand the entrepreneur stories. Let's talk about the capital. Actually, what you have heard is all capital game. Um, all the company went into the growing stage. It's all capital games. It's someone's money. How could you get someone to invest you and then become you can use that money to grow your idea and become to expand your company. So this is the uh, sell side or buy side idea about the capital versus the capital. The left side is the entrepreneur. You need the money, and then the investor is who has the money. For the entrepreneurship, you always start with an idea. I got a good idea. I can say, oh, maybe I can share my ride to friends, students, and to community peoples. So I have an idea, and I have money. I need money to prove of the concept and prove of the value. So once you have that money, you become a startup company. So the investor invests you for proof of concept and the proof of value is a C round and pre-A round. Then after you start your company, you have to prove to prove the business is feasible. So proof of business, you need another big money. Then you get into the A round or B round when venture capital, as most of the time is you play their roles to invest you. And if you have to prove the company, that means your business model has been proved, and you start have some profits, and then you get into I need money for expansion and also production, mass production. It's included to boost up the market and sales. To you sell 10 toys one day and become sell million toys per day. That needs money. So then you get into the C round or D round and then become an enterprise. Investor at that time, they get asset from IPO, mergers and acquisitions, and also spec is another possibility. But all of these things looks like the key of the success is the business model. The investor always asks you how much you need, where do you spend. You need money to what to produce to design a prototype, for market expansions, or for market surveying or research. So you have to build up a business model, and then you have a good business model, and then you have to build up a business plan. With a good business plan, the investor be able to value you, how much you value. In Taiwan, always net because the lousy system in accounting. This is in Chinese, in Mandarin is the 非常死板的会计系统. So the variation is not popular in Taiwan. Variation means they look at your future, how much money you can earn or how big it could grow in the future, and they define you a valuation of your probably stock price. It's not the net price of your stocks. And then for that, you have to have expanded your business plan to a good projection, maybe 5 years projection, 7 years projection, and then come with integrate the business model, business plan, and projection. You can have your valuation, a good valuation. So in global entrepreneurship or startup market, valuation is always the key, and also the fundamental or the baseline for the investor to invest an entrepreneur. Now, getting to today's main topic, we are talking about the 20-80% because we are talking about the business model. What is the business model? Business model is a method and approach in which the company makes money. You have to think about how you can make money. Your idea is just a theory, or you're just and good ideas, good business transaction, but it's not proven to be a good business model. So for business model, you have to capture or create market demand. You see you might need some industrial analysis and also target the customer segment. Who's your target? How much you can sell or how many you can sell, and also any competitor, or will your products or your idea can last for long enough. It's a 2 years ideas or 3 years idea or 10 years idea. And then you have to come out to a method to fulfill the demand. The demand is actually equal to the market. So value proposition, adding value or cost down. Your idea might be and cost down contribution to existing products or existing component. But again, you might have a change existing product to have its new values. For example, Viagra. Viagra was invented or developed as a heart disease pill. But again, somehow they found their extra capability or extra effects. Then it become a popular pill for lifestyle. So this is the value aid, the typical case of the reference of the value added. And then again, the core products or service. You have what's your core technology, and then how can you relay your core technology to become a core product, become a long-time service. Service is very important. We will talk about later. In the future, I think service will become a very important component for any industry. In TSMC, they say they are not manufacturing. They are not chip manufacturer. They are chip manufacturing service provider. So they actually provide a custom made or the tailor-made service. And then operation, you need to have the standard operation procedure for your operation, and also measures and distribution channels, and also partner network. This is all about the market. You have to know your market and know your value at the market. Also define your position at the profit stage. You are making, you see, the McDonald's, they sell the burger. Maybe they only earn $1 per burger, but they can sell like a million burgers a day. so they're still making money. For any good sales in different market size is quite different. You know the successful story about Wang Wang Xianbei. If they stay in Taiwan, they only can share sales mostly maybe 23 million package of Wang Wang Xianbei per year. I'm sorry, per day. But if they once they went to China's market or Chinese market, they can easily become billions sales per day. So this is a quite different style. Even you can have your profit margin very small for the bigger large size of market, but you can have very high profit margins, and then you can have a dominate smaller market. So this is quite different. You have to understand your business models. And then last one is income. Who will pay? You are selling the idea to general public, to engineers, or to parents, or to kids. Parents has different level of spending from the kids. Kids maybe only can spend $10, $100 per day. But when parents they want to buy something for their children, they can spend thousands, even 10,000s. So the revenue model as you have to create, and also the cost structure, came back to your production process, how much you will spend as a cost structure. And in these models, we always say your business model has to be adjustable, and sometimes they have to reformed or restarted when you change the size or the scale of your business. We were producing 20 motorcycles per year, or producing 2,000 motorcycles per year, and compared to producing 200,000 motorcycles per year, that's quite different. You need different factory, you need different supply chain, you need different parts, and then you need different system to manage these systems. And again, the software company as well, you are doing the software service for a city population only 100,000, or you are serving your software are serving people population in millions population city. It's quite different as well. So the 80-20% rule of the entrepreneurship is 20% only the technology, but 80% is business model. So we are trained, as particularly civil engineering, we are trained to learn all the technology during our career or during our school times. Seldom any civil engineering department teaching business model. Honestly speaking, even I graduated from the University of Washington, I got my PhD degree. I still don't know how the contractor can make money, or the engineering firm or design firm, consulting firm can make money, because I don't know the business model. No one teach me in my college, in my master school, or in my PhD school, or in my any of the school. So I'm thinking maybe later on the construction management division should start to teach business model classes, and of course all of you should get to learn business model. 3 questions always asked: who is the client? When you have the idea, you have a good idea, who will be your client, and why should customer choose you? You are any good. Your product is very special, your product solve any particular questions or challenge, or you save some times, you save some troubles, you provide unique features, and where does the money come from? Usually you have a business, they want to pay you, but they say, we don't have the budget because you are not within the regular budgeting system. That's these things we have to solve. But again, you have to think about the business model first. Let's get back to the Facebook. Facebook uses the characteristics of human nature. The flashers. You guys know what is the flasher? Flasher is the 铺路狂. You have in a couple of years back in New York, there were flashers were very popular. They wear raincoat and wear nothing under the raincoat, and then ran in front of you and open the raincoat. That's called the flasher, 铺路狂. And then a peeper. Peeper, that means everybody wants to peek. They like to pick the beautiful girls. They like to pick handsome guys. They like to pick Professor Shea. Peeper is 偷窥狂 or 偷窥者. Flasher and peeper is when you use Facebook, you want to show off your photos, so you become the flasher. And in Facebook, if you want to see somebody's recent status, or you want to see what's his new picture, you become a peeper. Everybody has these two human natures inside it, and Facebook provide these tools for everyone to satisfy their human natures. So that's the reason why Facebook becomes so attractive to most of the user, and gather the user within 10 years become a billion scale of the users volume. So actually, the successful element of Facebook is not the internet technology. It's actually the business model. They developed a business model, become a social media, and then become so popular. So when they have the 3 billion users worldwide, Facebook can use the artificial intelligence technology to quickly analyze people's interest. So they can place contents or ad to the users accurately and become a cash generating machine right now. The other thing most of the people doesn't know is Facebook actually also make big amount of money, big chunk of the money via mergers. In 2012 they acquired Instagram. When at the time Instagram was a very small company, so they can share the image mostly and with less work. That's the trend that Facebook now is going to, because they want you to put less work on Facebook, and then add a picture later in the dialogue, and they will isolate your exposure right away. So in 2014, Facebook also acquired the WhatsApp app. It's very popular in European countries and also in United States. And when they acquired this company, they expanded their users right away. So it's like a boost to boost shots to boost their users coverage and maintain their advantage away from other social media companies. So they are still dominate the market, despite that everyone accused that your secret has been reviewed by Facebook, your privacy has been violated by Facebook, but they still try to cover as many as possible of your lives. So their business model is actually social media and mergers. Come back to a very old company. You don't know how old. I think Coca-Cola is probably older than most of the people attending this seminar today, even including myself. But Coca-Cola, interesting, Coca-Cola has no patent rights. You would think about, oh, he must got a lot of patent because Coca-Cola has more than 100 products, more than 100 drinks, but they never have the patent. They never keep the patent. I don't know, back in 100 years before or 90 years before, when those guys started the Coca-Cola, they were too too under educated for the patents rights, or they just thought about maybe they have a better way to deal to do the business. Coca-Cola has do the so-called the trade secret protection and also the production control. What is trade secret protection? They are not selling you the waters. They sell you the resin and also syrup, concentration and syrup. So all the Coke factory in the world, they don't generate their own syrup or concentration. They have to buy the syrup and the concentration from Coca-Cola company. The other thing is, once you want to sell Coca-Cola in your country, the Coca-Cola company will sell you the bottling facilities. They say, oh, you cannot build your own factory. We have to build that factory for you and use our own system for bottling. So they control the bottling systems and they control the syrup and the concentration. They actually dominate the entire business model. The production line, two key points of the production line. Any distributors or local franchise just have to add waters and use the factory. And so this is very good business. So good, the Coca-Cola lasted for years and years and still making good profits out of it. Again, the Pepsi and many other drinks manufacturers, they are following this so-called trade secrets and bottling control. Uber has started with the, again, we just said it before. Uber is the typical sharing economy cases. They start with the college buddies sharing their rides and for girlfriends for local communities. But later on, they start sharing the different things, also sharing the food deliveries and everything. And then so they become a good sharing economy style. Everybody enjoy the Ubers now, especially when COVID-19 started. Everybody needs Uber Eats, and Uber Eats, the food delivery, become major contribution to the income of the Uber. So demand from the driver side, a lot of people need to pay their car loan monthly, and they or pay their student loan. They need to make good use of their car or vehicle, so they become Uber driver. And then from the customer side, everybody needs to have a good ride and then comfortable ride. And also, I think one of the feature that you like Ubers or I like Uber myself is you don't have to speak to the drivers. Sometimes the driver is too catchy or too lousy, speak to you all the times. The taxi driver is too lousy to speak to you all the times. When you take Uber, you don't even have to speak one word, and you can get on and get cut off. So Uber is a good share economic style of the new business, and especially sharing business. I will say later on will become more and more popular. We'll get into that later in the following slides. McDonald's. This is also an classical business. Actually, McDonald's is not selling, getting money, getting profit from selling burgers or fries. They are doing franchise. Licensing is also another big thing. When you cannot reach when your market growing too huge or too large, and you cannot control it, licensing structure will be a good uh, way to keep your profits. You know, we were talking about the selling Taiwan's fruit couple in the past 2 years. Taiwan produce a lot of good fruit, and then most of the time we sell it to mainland China or to Japan to make profit. But again, when you sell that or you grow fruit in China, um, uh, quickly you will be your technology or your skill, your secret method for growing sweet and good fruit will be steal by other peoples. How can you to protect your profits and not just by doing selling the fruit? You can actually licensing your technology, agricultural technology to other peoples, and then whenever they grow 100 fruit, you get $100 out of the fruit, and then when they grow thousands fruit, you get thousands returns revenues from licensing. So McDonald's is doing this kind of work. They will call it, they separate that into three labels, including the developmental license. And under this type of franchising, the franchise invests their own capital in setting up their restaurant, which include operational and real estate costs. And the second one is the so-called conventional franchise. It's a structure most effective that in the McDonald's system. The company either can obtain a long-term lease or own the land where the restaurant is built, while the franchise pays a minimum rent. It's very similar to BOT things. It's just the private BOT stuff. And then the affiliate, that the structure receive lowest investment from the company, but and account for the equity investment. So that's more like in Taiwan system, a lot of the breakfast shops, breakfast shop, they call them 美而美、美又美、美在美. They all have this kind of affiliate systems, and mainly the company provide the material only, and they have the shop owners or the affiliators. They have their own money to open the shops, find a place to rent the space for selling the breakfast. Last one, SpaceX. I think this is the company I have most interested in. I call it Sky is Unlimited. Elon Musk funded this company. Mainly, the original idea is to provide the space trips, and he's thought about if he asked the NASA to do the commercial space trip, that would cost too much. Maybe like 10 times or 100 times of the cost if he has his own space company, space travel company. So he he developed this company for space travel. Again, this is very risky because the idea is very advanced, but it's not popular. It's like only you are rich enough, and also there's nothing, nowhere on the earth you like or you feel challenged enough, then you will try to do the space travel. So it's like a very narrow or niche the market. But later on, he has a very good business model, which I think will be the future communication. Maybe we call it 5G, 6G, or 7G. When we reach the 8G, that one might be a best way. SpaceX has their Starlink company. The Starlink company is they launch the satellite to the lowest outer orbit of Earth. A very cheap satellite. But again, they are very good communication satellites. So that your cellular phone is not using the station of the com providers. You are actually using the satellite for communications. Now he charged like $99 per month, and later on will be for $99 per month or something like that. But I believe they will become more popular and more and more popular in the future, because the cost of the satellite will drop, and then the communication technology or the advances technology of the communication will become available in the future. This type of the communication will become the trend in the future. So right now, I just read the article. The SpaceX has become the most promising entrepreneur or startup company reaching in United States. It reached its valuation to 127 billion USD dollars just now. So we are looking when we look at the SpaceX, we are looking at next Facebook or next Uber. So I would like to share. We have discussed so many elements and so many cases. Let's talk about. Let's discuss about some real cases, and then real still in development, not the successful one or not the failed one. I just want to prove that they don't need a good business model. First one is Metropia. It's a U.S. company. It's a so-called the mobile as a service company. They will start from a software company, but they try to develop the software into a platform for travel, for mass transit, and in the future maybe become a payment systems or transaction systems. Again, they are struggling at this moment. They are struggling because they are a bunch of the software engineers. They don't really know the business model or how to do the business. They are recruiting business guys, but again, business guys not get along with engineers. This kind of problems often it exists in the startup company. When you start with the technology, core technology, then when you try to expand it, you need to hire the business guy, but the business guy doesn't look eye to eyes to the engineers or the technology guys always. And this is a main issue for a lot of the startup company. Second one is a very funny company. They just acquired, or they are partially acquired by Amazon. They call it Me and My company. The Me and My company is the education provider. They actually provide the very unique education system through a small box of the toys for kids. Instead of learning mathematics or the engineering or the physics, they are actually teaching the kids for social emotion. They a lot of people they cannot sustain the pressures. They're pretty much nervous. They can make a decision on their own. They are lack of the social emotion capabilities. With some well-designed tools and games and in small box, actually kids can learn how to manage their social emotions. This company was founded by a very young Taiwanese girls who went to Harvard and also MIT, learning a lot of psychology and also the business. She was very she know the market and she find the good business models and then he entered the market and then acquired by the Amazon. But again, how to expand it? Right now, he can probably satisfy for 50 to 200 customers by mail orders. But later on, if we want to expand it to education, real educational system, or real global market, and she need a lot of help, and she need to raise a lot of funds as well. Last one is very close to what you guys have done, or what you guys are doing these days. Be Inventor is a company who design a helmet. With their helmet, they can give you the workers or the engineer wear the helmet with a heartbeat, with her body temperatures, and also with some. If you have some accelerometers, you can detect if this guy is falling or coming to the danger zone in the construction site. However, this helmet is pretty expensive because its system is not uh, integrated to the construction system as well. And again, he tried very hard to have its own BIM models, but this is helmet. We're talking about entire design or construction BIM model, so it's not really to develop their own model. Our suggestion is they should develop their system to fit in any kind of the BIM platform. So component is not cannot dominate the market. And then you have to see your market, where's the market, where's the platform you want to get into. It's not always you create your own platform. So this is also another struggling business for need to be advised. There are three very famous cases. I won't say they were successful or they were. It really depends on you how you define the success of the business. The first one is the Arcvol, the water machine. They say they are the dewatering machine. They can dewater. They can collect the water from the atmosphere from the environment, and then the water can be drink. It's good enough, clean enough to be drink directly. This is quite a story when they put on the market and do the so-called internet fundraising. A lot of the famous guy, celebrities, I would say celebrities, to join their road shows. But when you come back to the questions, who will pay, who's your client, who is your target. You are selling water. Everybody drink water all the day. They don't really want to drink the water from that machine. Secondly, even though you collect enough of the water, I think most of the watering machine can also generate water for other purpose, like watering the plants or flush your toilet. So it's just a story that inspire everyone. Says, "Oh, this is quite sustainable. It's ESG." But if you went to their website, there no longer has any news since last year. So I don't know. That's will be a successful story or not. Second one is if you are watching the global stock market, you will see this one. It's called Robinhood, named by the famous righteous thief in England history. Robinhood, Robin Han. It's a company. They say anyone can play stocks or do the stock exchange on their website without any commission, as long as you join as a members. They are doing this for providing extra service to the stock players. But again, it's a good idea, very popular in young peoples. However, I think last year or the year before last, I think in 2020, 21st, they had a young people. He lost like $750,000 by using register as a Robinhood users. So he jumped out of his building and dead. And her mother was so sad. His mother was so sad. Said Robinhood killed his son. I think this is a lot of the media or the big stock trading company try to exaggerate this story. Says Robinhood is not right. Even Buffett, the god of the stocks, is saying the Robinhood is robbing everyone's money. But again, Robinhood provide a new mindset from the young generations like you guys. Why can I play stocks? Why can I sell stocks and buy stocks on my own will? So it's just like TikTok. I think Robinhood will become more and more popular, whether he will survive or not. But it create a new business model for young generations mindset. Last one is the iDrip coffee machines. It came out the market with a very good idea about so-called the IoT coffee machine. The IoT coffee machine means that you can program in the coffee you like, the way you cook your coffee, the way you cook your waters, the temperatures, and the way to inject the water into your coffee beans, coffee powders. It's very good. Idea is good, but again, the owners of this company has some problems. They have argued to each other. They have argument to each other. They don't have the patent protect or the trade secret protect well. Have no plan about it. And then later on, they have too ambitious to have dominate the global market. It's impossible for you to dominate the global market. We have been urging them to say, oh, you might be just want the 5% of the global market, but they would like to say they want the 80% of the global coffee market, and then use that as a scale to raise fund. Of course, their fundraising when sour, when failed, and actually delay the entire business. I don't know what they are at what stage they are at now. But again, it's not a very successful stories. So remember that a lot of the entrepreneurs failed. They might have a good fames or good reputation or become a big story, magazines, newspaper at the time when they launching their ideas or when they uh, start the fundraising with celebrities. But few of them, very few of them, uh, survives. That's what I meant to say to you. Okay, talk about all the other business. Let's come back to our final section of today's lecture. What are the uh, innovations in civil engineering? I will go quickly through this one because I would like to leave this topic to you to think about it. You might find a good topic for yourself or for your groups, your all bodies in the dormitory or your four powers play mahjong, came out good ideas. I just want to say, show you there are still a lot of the aspects of fields in civil engineering need can be developed and also create a new business. But again, before we go into the civil engineering topics, let's talk about the ideas or the technology trend. First one, you have to know IoT. I think Internet of Things is everyone should know and should use that as a good toy. In the future, the global from the market side to supply chain will be managed by Internet of Things. Uh, and next one is blockchain. Everybody look at the blockchain as think blockchain is only the crypto coins. It's not right. Blockchain is a decentralization technology or the software programming technology that separate uh, your core technology into different cells in where you don't even know. So, for example, you have NFT, you have a photo. They can decentralize this photo and save the photo, turn the photo into like 100 million elements, and then save them in different location in the network, in the global network. So you won't be able to break the code of the anything that blockchain want to protect. So this will be a very good technology for payment system, for exchange system, or even transaction system. We'll talk about the application later. And then the third one is the quantum computing. I think within 5 years, the quantum computing technology will become available and mature for a lot of the computational application. This is very much you have to watch. If you start the quantum computing research at this moment for civil engineering, you probably will be a pioneer for in this area in the future, in the next 10 years. And a couple of the things that you also want to watch is platform economics. We saw Facebook, we saw Uber, we saw Musk, we saw a lot of things is actually platform economics. This is a future of the economic, future pattern of the economics. And then service. No matter it's a hardware as a service, software as a service, or mobile as a service, anything as a service, civil as a service, engineering as a service. I think in the future, service will be a dominant industry trend. And decentralization. We have the idea in the future there will no huge power plant. All the power plant will become a small one with underneath, maybe underneath the community parks or the school public garage, underground of the public garage, because a small one can generate the enough energy for a local use, and then you connect those small or to medium-sized energy generators. You become a very smart and also uh, uh, resilient grid, energy grid. And again, sharing is also another very important concept. Um, the was saying most of the major car manufacturer, including Toyota, including Volvo, Mercedes, maybe Volkswagen, they are doing sharing business. They say foresee or they project in 10 years from now, you won't have your own car. It's all about sharing. You don't really have to buy your own car. You just join the club. And so this month you want to drive a Mercedes, you just drive a Mercedes. This month you want to ride a motorcycle, you just have a motorcycle. And you have deposited a good amount of money, and you can adjust the vehicle you want to drive. And then you don't have to buy a new car and hold it for 10 years or 5 years. So sharing economics will change also our form of the lifestyle in the future as well. So let's start with talking about the civil engineering. First one is data mining with quantum computing technology. I think data digitalization from planning, design, construction to monitoring, and also operation, maintenance, and even demolition. A life cycle of big data mining were needed, and it will become necessary in the future. And also you see from our present design to 1D design to 2D to 3D, and even with time factor considered. So we will get into the 4D design, how big the volume of the data will be. So data mining technology will be a very good idea. And also a lot of the models and cost down methods or the energy time saving technology can be developed from this data mining. So you can easily have your own ideas and do the proof of concept, proof of business, and be acquired by the big design firm, right? So from the artificial intelligence to quantum computing, and also again, when you have enough larger amount of the data acquisition, security, storage will also be very important aspects of this field. And pattern and trend analysis with real professional experiences. Often a lot of the construction management guys, they don't have field experiences. They start doing analysis. I'm not talking about anyone who doing bridge maintenance, bridge data through the Ministry of Transportation system. But again, you need to know, whoever you're doing this, you need to know the real design or structure content or the structure behavior of the bridge before you're doing this kind of analysis. So again, pattern analysis and trend analysis is quite important. And sensor and sensoring, in the past 10 years, sensor and the sensoring has a lot of the advances in the past 10 years. You see in the size of the accelerometer for mechanical style accelerometer in my days is like 1 meter by 1 meter and by 1 meter large. But right now it's only a fingernail size. RAM accelerometer can do exactly the same measurement for earthquake wave. So in the future, the construction monitoring, health monitoring, inspection, performance identification, image recognition. This is very important for because of the computing technology has advanced, and also this is a new business model coming in. In the past, the sensors and sensoring, they all think about doing that kind of work by school, universities. But again, it's I would say these professors are, spoiling the business, because that should be a reasonable profit, not just the profit by using students and cheap laborers to provide only one professor for his international trips, and also the extra salary from the professor's salary. Um, Again, a lot of things until field non-destructive testing, operating sensoring, and safety sensoring. There are a lot of things we can do it now for using UAV, and also again the image like CCTV or IP camera. There are a lot of things has been advanced. Advanced design aid. We have to have a life cycle design, improving technology, including can we model in the time, can we model in the material, can we do the complicated, more complicated stress strain behavior. I believe we can. Environmental factors, real-time construction quality checks, and also human factors. In the future, modeling will not be used only for design. It will be used to observe and to doing follow-up check for entire civil project, including maintenance. So this kind of things has to be integrated into the design aid tools, a lot of them. And also, don't forget that I predict maybe within 5 years, the image design, which is the design using virtual reality, augmented reality, or extended reality will become available and become real. In that time, you don't really design by your pencil or rulers on the papers. You actually can do the image design in virtual reality, and then monitor the construction process using the augmented reality or extended reality. Come back to the very conventional segment of the civil engineering, the construction material and machinery. For material, we have a lot of people doing research for high performance material. But again, next stage is a smart and intelligent material. You see, right nowadays they have the concrete. They can bend to different sides or have different strength stress behavior according to the temperature. So this will become a very smart material in the future. And then composite material and sustainable material. Again, maybe we'll come back to bamboo and wood in the future. Last week, Japan has built up an 11-story high wooden modern office building. So again, that's a sustainable material. And one of the interesting application is 3D printing. I urge that everyone or Taiwan's civil engineering field should get into the 3D printing research as soon as possible, because as soon as the material science advanced, 3D printing can print out very the component with high strength and also high quality durability component that will become a trend in the future for mass production, and also save a lot of on-site labors as well. And machinery, I think robot is a trend already, and automations, and then project-oriented machinery designed, again, micro machinery. Micro machinery was used in military purpose. It's very small, like a nano size,